Hi everyone and welcome back for the second part. So in the first part you could have seen how I've prepared the pattern, so the parts we'll be making the molds from in this video. So if you missed it, you can find it in the cards on the top right or in the description down below. So we've used some pattern primer to finish the parts to a high gloss, first by using a brush and then by using a spray gun, so to create like a nice and even layer on top of the part. And then we finished the mold box and applied some release agent. So very important is to add the release agent, otherwise your mold might get stuck onto the part. So it's very important to use the release agent. So here I'm using I had the ID, so in the future of this video you'll see these keys won't be needed anymore. So I've used some keys just to have like the top of the RTM mold align with the bottom mold, so the molds we'll be making now, but these will be removed like while making this video, like you'll see later on in the video. So I'm using some tooling gel coat. So I'm using the Unimold system from Easy Composite. So it's a system using a gel coat, a coupling coat, making like a good connection between the gel coat and the tooling resin that will be coming on top. So the first part is to use the gel coat. So this is the black stuff you put on top and will be the top layer of your mold. So you use it by adding some hardener. So the hardener or the catalyst would be McP hardener, and use around like 1 or 2% depending on the ambient temperatures and the time you have to apply it onto your mold. So make sure to mix it in 2 batches. So the general rule is to use 600 grams per square meter. The mold is about, I think it was 1.5 square meters, so I've used about 1.2 kilograms. So it's a bit more than needed, but it's a big part, and so I decided to mix it in 2 cups just to make sure that I have enough time to apply it onto the mold. So this is the preparations for the coupling coat. So I'm using a 100 gram square meter chopped strands fiberglass, and here's like a little trick. So I've cut the strips with a pizza cutter, so I call it a pizza cutter. You could use scissors as well, and then you just bend them over and then you can tear them apart, because it's better to have like torn fibers connecting, like interlapping into each other, and have like a nice like sharp edge on the sides of your flanges. So you'll see later on where I use them. So here I'm using the coupling coat. So the coupling coat is about like the same amount that you use as your gel coat. So first you apply it by brush onto the part, so make like sure to have like an even coverage. So if you still have like small pinholes or something into the gel coat, these will fill up these pinholes and little holes that you still have. So then I apply the fiberglass, and it will soak up quite quickly, because it's a thin fiberglass, it's only 100 grams, and this will make like a nice surface between the gel coat and the layers coming on top later on, so the tooling resin. So it's very important to use a roller just to make sure you have no air bubbles. All the fiberglass is well saturated, and here you can see like where I've used the edges, so the sharp edges are sticking out of the mold on the sides, and the fibers are interlapping, like woven into each other then on the inside of the mold. So here we are preparing everything for like the most important stuff is adding some stiffness and rigidity to your mold, and that will be with the tooling resin. So this is like it has like a color, it's a bit like mustard, and then it will cure into like more vanilla color later on. So make sure if you're making big molds, work in parts. So I just focused first on the main part, so the car body, and then I do everything all around. So general rule would be to use around 3 or 4 coats, and this is with a chopped strands fiberglass of 450 grams if I'm correct. So you'll use quite a lot of resin. 3 layers I think is enough for like shapes, like the porch or car shape used in the middle has a lot of rigidity on its own by like his geometry, and then the flanges, or I think I added 3 layers, might be more if you want to, but if needed you can still reinforce it later on by just sanding it down and adding more layers if needed. So here I'm just, while the part is still in like the mold box, I trim off the edges so I have nice and clean edges all around with the same height. So I cut them off with the angular grinder, and then I can remove all the sides. So I've saved the sides, and it will be important that I've saved these as you will see in a few minutes, because the mold didn't come out that well. So I've noticed it while applying the coupling coat that the gel coat was lifting at some point. So I knew it wasn't going to come out perfect, but I knew it was like possible or an easy fix. What causes these problems is too much release agent. So melamine is self-releasing on its own. I've added 5 layers, and then like there's no surface tension holding the gel coat down. As well, it might be adding too much McP hardener, having some airflow over your mold, so many factors can cause it. Of course, it's quite disappointed, but mostly with composites, you'll be disappointed at sometimes. So I've had it all through the years. The best way or mechanism to cope with it is just like find solutions, and that's mostly like experience. So I'm sharing my experience on how to fix this. So it's a creative solution I found. I haven't seen it anywhere online before. So it's a first try and it worked out. So this might be like some good information for you. So as you can see, we have some alligatoring on the molds. We have some, so this would be the Bondo stuck under it. What causes this is as well that the coupling coat sometimes find its way through the gel coat and then create like a little pool under it. So this is what you see here. So this is coupling coats going beneath the gel coats and curing there. So it shouldn't be there. It should be on top of the gel coat. But if you have like some marks or it's not fully filled with the gel coat, then you might have some problems like this. So how we are going to solve this problem that we had. So very important is first to clean your mold. So I'm using some hot water with some soap. So that way I'm able to remove all the wax that I've used on the sides. But then the problem is that you might rub the wax onto the rest of your mold. So you clean it again with some mold cleaner. So, and then it's just like basically sanding everything down just to have like a good mechanical bond. So we'll be adding some epoxy resin. You'll see that in a few minutes. So I'm making the mold box first. So I'll be pouring epoxy onto this unleveled surface to create like a level surface. It's very important to have like the same height everywhere, because if the mold box is angled, you might have some gaps in between the mold box and the flanges of your molds, making the resin drip out of your mold that way. So I took some good time in preparations just to avoid having problems later on. So here I'm making the inside box. So it's very important to have like, this is the most important one. If you have some resin dripping off to the sides, it's okay, but you don't want to have like your mold shape, like the negative part of your car part, being filled like a bucket with resin. So I've used some silicone just to make sure that no resin would seep under it. Obviously adding some silicone will cause some problems later on, but this all will be fixed in the future of this video. So I'm using some glass casts. Why did I use some glass cast? Glass cast is made for thick pours. You might have seen my videos making tables, like river tables with them. And that's why I thought this might be a good idea. And so it was a good idea. So I've added some pigments. So I've used some black. Make sure to use epoxy pigment, especially dedicated for these purposes. So you just mix it. This is like 5 kilograms of resin. So it will take a good amount. But this was a good way to save this mold because I didn't want to redo it. So how do you do it? You mix A and B plus the tinting pigment, so the black. You mix it all very well. So this is like a short edit of the mixing, but it's important to mix for about 2 minutes. And then I've used the double cup system where I pour it over in the second cup and mix it once again. So that way you're sure you don't have like unmixed resins on your sides, and you make sure that you have everything well mixed. Because another thing that I would mostly likely want to miss is to have unmixed resin being poured right here. So everything went well. I've poured it all the way around the sides, no leaks, so that's good. And then you can remove any bubbles coming to the surface by using a heat gun. So this way we are creating like a glass-like finish, just to be able to have like a flat finish later on. So now that we have everything casted, it's time to remove all the flanges, all the boxes that we've made. So by good preparations, this was quite easy, but you might still see like on the sides of the mold, we still have some silicone trapped in between the surfacing layer that we've just poured and the mold, but this will be fixed later on as well. So here we are like starting to sand the mold, so remove all the silicone. I found out the easiest way was by sanding it down and make sure to clean it well so you don't have silicone contamination onto the rest of your mold. So here we are going to address some small fixes. I've made a separate video on this, so you'll find it in the cards on the right top of this video or in the description, going into full detail, because this is a video of 6 minutes because I wanted to address it in a good way, but in this video all the minor mistakes were fixed. So for the next thing, so we've created the inside mold box before pouring, so now we have a hard edge in between the top layer and like the bottom layer of the mold, so being the car shape. So while pouring the resin, I was like a bit annoyed. I have to remove my key points where the top mold will be coming on, but this inside box will already create like the key for the top half, like being positioned in a good way. So I'm mixing some regular laminating epoxy with fumed silica. So fumed silica is mostly used to make glues or to thicken your epoxy, and that way I was able to create like it's like a jelly state of epoxy, making it less runny. So the idea was to create a rounded edge, like making a good transition between the hard edge. So I'm using a bag just to press it into the corner, and then I'm able to use the ball-shaped tool to create that nice overhang, so like the nice transition between the top half and the bottom half of this mold. So by doing so, we'll create like less problems with resins being stuck in between these two halves. I did this just before leaving the workshop because I wanted to let it cure for 24 hours. Very important, if you still have some resins in a large amount into a bag like I've used here or into a cup, make sure to put them on the ground, not in a trash can, because they will have an exothermal reaction and might cause some fires if you, for example, have paper towels with acetone and so on. So make sure to leave them to fully cure in a safe place. So I've removed the silicone with a bit of the top half of the epoxy with an angler grinder, and that way I now have a rounded edge without silicone being trapped in between it. So now it's all about finishing. It's like correcting the molds. The mold will be fine at the end of the video, and it's just like filling all the little edges that I had and fully finish the mold right now. So I'm using a grit up till 800 because I find this is okay for molds. You can go up to 2000 if you want and polish everything up, but this is the result you'll get up to 800. So I'm wet sanding and then I clean the fully mold in between every sanding, just to avoid having like some little dust debris or sandpaper debris ruining every layer you sand. So the final layer is the polishing. Glass cast is very easy to polish, so this is like a good bonus into this solving of the problem. So I have a nice even gloss finish now on the sides, because it's important with RTM molds. Otherwise you're just chasing your errors and make more and more mistakes every time you continue into the process. So the mold is fully polished. As you can see, I've mentioned it in the first video. It's not that necessary to polish and like to clean up your first part to the fullest, because you can do it on the mold. So the mold is fully finished now, it's ready to make the parts and then the RTM top half. So RTM is not using a vacuum bag, but using a hard shell on top in replacement of that vacuum bag. So it's a faster way and easier way to do. So last step, once again, adding some release agents, and now we're ready for the next video. So what can you expect for the next video? We'll make the first part, so creating like the dimension of the future parts to come. So that would be around 2 layers of 650. So it will give parts of 1.5 millimeter, and then we'll be making the top molds, like being the most important part into RTM. So we'll have all our channels integrated, and this is something you'll be able to see in the next videos. So I hope you like this video. Make sure to subscribe for future videos, and see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.